Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Act or preside as chair, as of an academic department in a university. She chaired the department for many years. The officer who presides at the meetings of an organization. Address your remarks to the chairperson. Preside over. An instrument of execution by electrocution. Resembles an ordinary seat for one person. The murderer was sentenced to die in the chair. The position of professor. He was awarded an endowed chair in economics. A particular seat in an orchestra. He is second chair violin. A seat for one person, with a support for the back. He put his coat over the back of the chair and sat down. Act or preside as chair, as of an academic department in a university. The officer who presides at the meetings of an organization. The officer who presides at the meetings of an organization. Address your remarks to the chairperson. The officer who presides at the meetings of an organization. The officer who presides at the meetings of an organization. The person who holds the office of head of state of the United States government. The office of the United States head of state. The head administrative officer of a college or university. An executive officer of a firm or corporation. The chief executive of a republic. Be in charge of. The introductory section of a story. It was an amusing lead-in to a very serious matter. Take somebody somewhere. We lead him to our chief. Produce as a result or residue. Be conducive to. The use of computers in the classroom lead to better writing. Lead, as in the performance of a composition. A jumper that consists of a short piece of wire. It was a tangle of jumper cables and clip leads. A news story of major importance. Travel in front of. Go in advance of others. Lead, extend, or afford access. Move ahead of others, in time or space. Preside over. A soft, heavy, toxic, malleable metallic element. Bluish-white when freshly cut but tarnishes readily to dull gray. The children were playing with lead soldiers. Cause something to pass or lead somewhere. Stretch out over a distance, space, time, or scope. Run or extend between 2 points or beyond a certain point. Be ahead of others. Be the first. An actor who plays a principal role. Evidence pointing to a possible solution. The police are following a promising lead. Thin strip of metal used to separate lines of type in printing. Restraint consisting of a rope, or light chain, used to restrain an animal. The timing of ignition relative to the position of the piston in an internal combustion engine. An indication of potential opportunity. A good lead for a job. Mixture of graphite with clay in different degrees of hardness. The marking substance in a pencil. An advantage held by a competitor in a race. He took the lead at the last turn. A position of being the initiator of something and an example that others will follow, especially in the phrase, take the lead. He takes the lead in any group. Baseball. the position taken by a base runner preparing to advance to the next base. He took a long lead off first. Cause to undertake a certain action. Sports, the score by which a team or individual is winning. Tend to or result in. This remark lead to further arguments among the guests. The angle between the direction a gun is aimed and the position of a moving target, correcting for the flight time of the missile. The playing of a card to start a trick in bridge. The lead was in the dummy. Make less strong or intense, soften. Not extreme. A moderate penalty. A person who takes a position in the political center. Make more temperate, acceptable, or suitable by adding something else. Make less severe or harsh. He moderated his tone when the students burst out in tears. Lessen the intensity of. Temper. Hold in restraint. Hold or keep within limits. Moderate your alcohol intake. Preside over. John moderated the discussion. Marked by avoidance of extravagance or extremes. Moderate in his demands. Being within reasonable or average limits, not excessive or extreme. Moderate prices. Make less fast or intense. Moderate your speed. An instrument of execution by electrocution resembles an ordinary seat for one person. An instrument of execution by electrocution resembles an ordinary seat for one person. An instrument of execution by electrocution resembles an ordinary seat for one person. A difficult position where you are subjected to stress and criticism. The position of professor. Computer science. A tiny electromagnetic coil and metal pole used to write and read magnetic patterns on a disk. Be in charge of. Who is heading this project? A person who is in charge. The head of the whole operation. That which is responsible for one's thoughts, feelings, and conscious brain functions, the seat of the faculty of reason. I couldn't get his words out of my head. Be the first or leading member of a group and excel. This student heads the class. The educator who has executive authority for a school. The upper part of the human body or the front part of the body in animals contains the face and brains. He stuck his head out the window. Travel in front of. Go in advance of others. The procession was headed by John. The part in the front or nearest the viewer. He was at the head of the column. A line of text serving to indicate what the passage below it is about. The heading seemed to have little to do with the text. A V-shaped mark at one end of an arrow pointer. A difficult juncture. Matters came to a head yesterday. Forward movement. The ship made little headway against the gale. Oral stimulation of the genitals. They say he gives good head. A dense cluster of flowers or foliage. A head of cauliflower. The subject matter at issue. Under the head of minor Roman poets. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. The source of water from which a stream arises. They tracked him back toward the head of the stream. A natural elevation, especially a rocky one that jets out into the sea. Grammar, the word in a grammatical constituent that plays the same grammatical role as the whole constituent. A membrane that is stretched taut over a drum. An individual person. Tickets are $5 per head. A projection out from one end. The head of the nail. A rounded compact mass. The head of a comet. A single domestic animal. 200 head of cattle. A user of, usually soft, drugs. The office was full of secret heads. Be in the front of or on top of. The list was headed by the name of the president. Form a head or come or grow to a head. The wheat headed early this year. Nautical, a toilet on board a boat or ship. Remove the head of. Head the fish. Take its rise. These rivers head from a mountain range in the Himalayas. That part of a skeletal muscle that is away from the bone that it moves. The foam or froth that accumulates at the top when you pour an effervescent liquid into a container. The beer had a large head of foam. The front of a military formation or procession. The head of the column advanced boldly. The length or height based on the size of a human or animal head. He is 2 heads taller than his little sister. The pressure exerted by a fluid. A head of steam. The rounded end of a bone that fits into a rounded cavity in another bone to form a joint. The head of the humerus. The striking part of a tool. The head of the hammer. The tip of an abscess, where the pus accumulates. The top of something. The head of the stairs. To go or travel towards. Where is she heading? Usually plural, the obverse side of a coin that usually bears the representation of a person's head. Call heads or tails. The leader of a group meeting. Speak with others about something, talk something over in detail, have a discussion. Speak with others about something, talk something over in detail, have a discussion. We discussed our household budget. To consider or examine in speech or writing. The class discussed Dante's Inferno. Speak with others about something, talk something over in detail, have a discussion. An instrument designed and used to take the life of a condemned person. A job in an organization. Assign a location to. A point located with respect to surface features of some region. This is a nice place for a picnic. Assign a rank or rating to. The particular portion of space occupied by something. He put the lamp back in its place. A particular situation. If you were in my place, what would you do? Assigned to a station. A space reserved for sitting, as in a theater or on a train or airplane. He sat in someone else's place. Recognize as being. Establish the identity of someone or something. Where you live at a particular time. Your place or mine. Identify the location or place of. Locate. Take a place in a competition, often followed by an ordinal. Put into a certain place or abstract location. A public square with room for pedestrians. Make an investment. Proper or designated social situation. He overstepped his place. A blank area. Any area set aside for a particular purpose. Who owns this place? Estimate. An item on a list or in a sequence. In the second place. Intend, something, to move towards a certain goal. The post or function properly or customarily occupied or served by another. Took his place. A general vicinity. He comes from a place near Chicago. An abstract mental location. He has a special place in my thoughts. Assigned to, a job or a home. Finish second or better in a horse or dog race. He bet $2 on number 6 to place. Place somebody in a particular situation or location. He was placed on probation. Proper or appropriate position or location. A woman's place is no longer in the kitchen. Sing a note with the correct pitch. The passage that is being read. He lost his place on the page. To arrange for. Place a phone call. A job in an organization. The actions and activities assigned to or required or expected of a person or group. Professional or clerical workers in an office. The whole office was late the morning of the blizzard. Of a government or government official, holding an office means being in power. Being in office already gives a candidate a great advantage. Place of business where professional or clerical duties are performed. He rented an office in the new building. An administrative unit of government. A religious rite or service prescribed by ecclesiastical authorities. The offices of the Mass. A job in an organization. A short personal letter. Provide housing for military personnel. Lodging for military personnel, especially in a private home. A job in an organization. Secure in or as if in a berth or dock. A bed on a ship or train, usually in tiers. Come into or dock at a wharf. A place where a craft can be made fast. Provide with a berth. A job in an organization. An act that brings discredit to the person who does it. A small contrasting part of something. A bald spot. A lamp that produces a strong beam of light to illuminate a restricted area, used to focus attention of a stage performer. A point located with respect to surface features of some region. A bright spot on a planet. A mark on a die or on a playing card, shape depending on the suit. An outstanding characteristic. A small piece or quantity of something. A spot of tea. A slight attack of illness. Detect with the senses. A blemish made by dirt. Make a spot or mark onto. The wine spotted the tablecloth. Catch sight of. Mar or impair with a flaw. A business establishment for entertainment. Night spot. A playing card with a specified number of pips on it to indicate its value. An 8 spot. A section of an entertainment that is assigned to a specific performer or performance. They changed his spot on the program. A short section or illustration, as between radio or TV programs or in a magazine, that is often used for advertising. Become spotted. This dress spots quickly. Mark with a spot or spots so as to allow easy recognition. Spot the areas that one should clearly identify. A condition or position in which you find yourself. The unpleasant situation, or position, of having to choose between two evils. A job in an organization. Physical position in relation to the surroundings. The general state of things, the combination of circumstances at a given time. The present international situation is dangerous. A complex or critical or unusual difficulty. The dangerous situation developed suddenly. A job in an organization. He occupied a post in the treasury. Mark with a stake. Transfer, entries, from one account book to another. United States manufacturer of breakfast cereals and postum, 1854 to 1914. United States female author who wrote a book in a syndicated newspaper column on etiquette, 1872 to 1960. Military installation at which a body of troops is stationed. This military post provides an important source of income for the town nearby. Cause to be directed or transmitted to another place. Assigned to a station. A pole or stake set up to mark something, as the start or end of a racetrack. A pair of posts marked the goal. The system whereby messages are transmitted via the post office. In England they call mail, the post. Place so as to be noticed. Post a sign. Mark or expose as infamous. Any particular collection of letters or packages that is delivered. Is there any post for me? The position where someone, as a guard or sentry, stands or is assigned to stand. A soldier manned the entrance post. United States aviator who in 1933 made the first solo flight around the world, 1899 to 1935. Affix in a public place or for public notice. Post a warning. An upright consisting of a piece of timber or metal fixed firmly in an upright position. He set a row of posts in the ground and strung barbed wire between them. Assigned to a post. Put into a post. The newspaper posted him in Timbuktu. Display, as of records in sports games. Enter on a public list. Publicize with, or as if with, a poster. I'll post the news on the bulletin board. Ride Western style and bob up and down in the saddle in rhythm with a horse's trotting gait. The delivery and collection of letters and packages. It came by the first post. A condition or position in which you find yourself. The unpleasant situation, or position, of having to choose between two evils. A job in an organization. The spatial property of a place where or way in which something is situated. The position of the hands on the clock. The particular portion of space occupied by something. A rationalized mental attitude. An opinion that is held in opposition to another in an argument or dispute. A way of regarding situations or topics, etc. The arrangement of the body and its limbs. The relative position or standing of things or especially persons in a society. Atheists do not enjoy a favorable position in American life. A point occupied by troops for tactical reasons. Put into a certain place or abstract location. The act of putting something in a certain place. An item on a list or in a sequence. Moved from third to fifth position. The post or function properly or customarily occupied or served by another. Cause to be in an appropriate place, state, or relation. In team sports, the role assigned to an individual player. What position does he play? The act of positing, an assumption taken as a postulate or axiom. The appropriate or customary location. The cars were in position. Show to a seat. Assign a seat for. The host seated me next to Mrs. Smith. Place ceremoniously or formally in an office or position. A space reserved for sitting, as in a theater or on a train or airplane. He booked their seats in advance. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. A center of authority, as a city from which authority is exercised. Any support where you can sit, especially the part of a chair or bench, etc. on which you sit. He dusted off the seat before sitting down. A part of a machine that supports or guides another part. Be able to seat. The theater seats 2,000. Furniture that is designed for sitting on. There were not enough seats for all the guests. Place in or on a seat. The mother seated the toddler on the high chair. Place or attach firmly in or on a base. Seat the camera on the tripod. Provide with seats. Seat a concert hall. Put a seat on a chair. The cloth covering for the buttocks. The seat of his pants was worn through. The legal right to sit as a member in a legislative or similar body. He was elected to a seat in the Senate. The location, metaphorically speaking, where something is based. The brain is said to be the seat of reason. The chairman of the Kashag and essentially head of the Tibetan government in exile. One ranking below or serving in the place of a chairman. A performer or composer or fan of rock music. A trough that can be rocked back and forth, used by gold miners to shake auriferous earth in water in order to separate the gold. A chair mounted on rockers. A curved support that permits the supported object to rock to and fro. An attendant who rocks a child in a cradle. An ice skate with a curved blade. A teenager or young adult in the 1960s who wore leather jackets and rode motorcycles. A chair mounted on rockers. Chair with a support on each side for arms.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.